live. And I swear, I say this every time. It's saying prepare to live stream, and I swear it's already live streaming. But I have to wait for it because then, in order for it not to reverberate, yeah, I have to turn it off. So we are ready to go. Sammy, thank you so much for being here. Whoa, tearing the place apart. I'm so excited to chat about what we're going to chat about. So for those of you who have never seen one of our lives before, so this is What If Wednesday. And What If Wednesday is kind of like, what if I don't know what I thought I knew about specifically religion or God or spirituality or things that fall into that realm and category. What if it's different than I was taught? What if it's different than I thought? What if there's more? What if? So this is What If Wednesday, and this is Sammy, and I'm so excited that you're here. So tell us just a little bit of a background of where you came from, who you are, and then let's dig into your question.
Yeah. So I'm Sammy. I grew up in California, and then I moved to Idaho when I was 12, and I grew up in a very religious, strict household. My parents like baptized me and blessed me when I was first born, and then I was baptized as probably 10-year-old, and then I had to baptize again, always baptizing, always rebirthing, always forgiving my sins, all that stuff. Then at 18, my parents were going through a really nasty divorce, and I was like, yep, I don't want to be here anymore. And I left and never looked back and didn't really go back into the whole church religion. And now I have 3 kids of my own, and I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I want to teach them? So, yeah.
All right, cool. I love this. So tell me a little bit about the experience that you had that made you question whether or not you wanted to religion, because obviously there was something that wasn't positive or yummy that made you walk away and go, okay, I don't want this anymore. So give us a little bit more detail about that specifically, that to put us in the place of why you're questioning to religion or to not religion.
Yeah. So when I was 17, the church we were going to at the time, there was some stuff happening inside of the church that I didn't really understand because, I was kind of getting pushed out, but there was people above me that I was like questioning what they were doing, right? They would say one thing, but I would see them do something else. They would say, don't have a relationship with anybody because you're not supposed to. Like, it was super weird. They were in their 20s, and they were at that stage where they should be, dating and courting and whatever you want to call it. But they were like, no, it's not the right time. But yet behind closed doors, they were courting each other. They were dating each other. They were doing the same things that they were saying on the outside not to be doing. And so I was questioning and trying to figure out. And then that's when my parents' divorce started happening. And I was at a church event, and the youth pastor's wife came over to me, and she brought a couple other people, and they were like praying over me. And then they like anointed me with oil, and they're like, we need to cast out the demons. You are full of demons. And I was like, what is happening? And then when I went to my mom about it, because my dad at the time wasn't here because of the whole divorce stuff, my dad wasn't actually in Idaho anymore. He was in Kentucky. Again, based off the church, he needs to go to this place in Kentucky and get better because my dad's sick, and like, just weird. And so my dad wasn't here, and I went to my mom, and my mom was so wrapped up in like the divorce and what the church was saying that she didn't even listen. And yeah, I split pretty much as soon as I could after that, because I mean, who wants to hear that? Who wants that blessing, as they called it? Like, we're blessing you. We're purifying. Like, who wants that?
We're
Who
doing
wants
you
to
a
hear
huge
that?
favor.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're freaking me out.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, I love the illumination going on there. The sun is just coming through. So I apologize for the little bit of freak out lighting, but, so what if, let me ask you this. Were there lots of people at that event that you showed up in, that everyone came over and were blessing you at your church?
So the event probably had, I would say, about 50 people at it.
Okay.
And they brought over 5 females, all females. The males were not allowed to be around. Males were not allowed to like pray over females. Females were not allowed to pray over males. Like, that was a big no, which is also weird to me. Like, why do we have to like segregate like that? Like, that didn't make sense to me. So they brought over, it was the youth pastor's wife. It was the wife to the band, like the worship leader, his wife. And then it was the main pastor's, one of his daughters. And then there was 2 others, but I don't remember who those other 2. So these 3 are all within the church. Like, they're all like high up pastor people, right? Like, they're the highest of the highest. And they were the 3 with the oil. They were the 3 anointing me. They were the 3 saying, casting out the demons. The other 2 were just kind of like, I think, as shocked as I was. And then I was like crying, because what else am I supposed to feel at that point? And they're like, see, it's working. And I'm like, you're freaking me out. Of course I'm crying. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I love this. I love to get the picture painted and then do the what if, right? So let's just, for a minute, I want to take you to Christmas, right? All across the world, we celebrate Christmas. And I remember when my kids were little, and I found this book about, like, I think it was something like Christmas Around the World or something. And they would highlight a like an area or a place or a country or whatever. I can't remember how they separated it. But they said, okay, this is how this place in the world celebrates Christmas. And then it would go to the next one. This is how this place celebrates Christmas. And we went through for the days leading up to Christmas. And it was so cool, because it gave my kids perspective that everyone was different, that everyone was celebrating the same day, yet very, very different. So what if religion was the same thing? What if religion was more about a tradition than the actual event, which is relationship with God, right? Because as we read through this book, it was clear that everybody was celebrating the birth of Christ. Everybody was celebrating the gift that God coming to the earth signified. It was an experience that each different culture was having with the same entity, yet they looked very, very different. And what if religion was exactly the same? And what if maybe you grow up with a tradition like, well, we open presents every Christmas Eve and everyone gets new pajamas. And that's the only thing, right? And then you have your own kids and you go, you know what? That was a cool tradition, but my kids sleep naked. So that tradition doesn't really work for my family. What if we did something like they just get to open one gift at Christmas Eve? Right? So you're still celebrating the event, yet you're morphing it based on you, your family, your individual needs and likes and desires and how it works for you and your family. And what if religion, and in the Bible, it talks about how the law, religion, is the tutor that leads us to Christ, to the event. The tradition of Christmas leads us to the event of the birth of Christ. And what if we got to live our life the same way? And so, what if though, let's go to the other side of the pendulum. What if though, you didn't have a book that showed you Christmas around the world, and you were told this is the only way to celebrate Christmas? You can only open a present and it has to be new pajamas. And what if there was no flexibility around your Christmas tradition? And then you flew across the world and somebody said, we're going to celebrate Christmas, and they're eating crawfish and, opening all their gifts on Christmas Eve. And you're like, wait, this is not how we celebrate Christmas. You guys are not, right? If we could compare religion to traditions, right? How would that change now? Go back to that situation and go, okay, cool. These people are anointing me with oil, only doing females. Would it change the way that you were welcomed to receive that situation? If you were given permission. Now, see, here's the thing. When we're little, we're not given permission that there's anything other than what we're taught God is based on a religion. But now put yourself in that place and go, okay, well, if religion was like Christmas traditions, how would I have perceived that situation differently? Could you? And would you? And what would that be?
Yeah, that would. Sorry, I've got a visitor.
No, that's okay. I'm like, hello, sweet guest.
I don't know. Like, that's a very unique way to look at it. And like you said, as a child, because I was under 18, I did live in my parents' house still. I wasn't allowed to question anything. And so to look at it as a tradition and that's just their tradition, like that makes it feel so much lighter and better, right? Like, oh, it wasn't me. I'm not a bad person. That was just their tradition. That's just what they did. Right? Like it makes it feel better.
Yeah. And do you see how when we're told that this religion is God, and then we walk away from the religion and that leaves us walking away from God, as opposed to, wait, no, God is Christmas. It's inevitable. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you believe. Every December 25th, whether you acknowledge it or not. Now, we've claimed that day as Christmas, but even if it wasn't called Christmas, December 25th will show up regardless of what you do. You can sleep through it. You can wake up. You can celebrate it. You can not celebrate it. You could even not even realize it was December 25th, but it doesn't change the fact that it's December 25th, right?
Yeah.
And so if we can separate religion from God and recognize that the essence of what Jesus himself came to bring us, which was, hey, it's not about the religion. It's truly about the relationship. Okay, here's Christmas Day. Here is this gift. How do you want to celebrate it? How do you want to interact with it? How do you want to create traditions that are beneficial, special, and unique to you? And let me ask you this. I love the fact, Sammy, that you're like, I have 3 kids now and I don't know what to teach them. Do you treat all of your kids exactly equal, exactly fair? Fair as far as all of them exactly the same?
No.
No. Give me an example of why and how you treat each of your kids differently?
All right. So I have a 9-year-old who has ADD, and his memory of learning something is very different than my 7-year-old, who, that kid has a math brain that like I've never seen before. I can't even keep up with his math. And so they are in the same grade for math. I can't sit them at the same table and be like, okay, here's our math problem. Who wants to answer it? Like, my older one will get so much anxiety that it comes out in anger and he just starts throwing things. My younger one, my middle, whatever, my 7-year-old, he's like, oh, cool, mom, here's the answer. Here you go. And he'll shout it out before I can even finish telling him the problem. Like, the kid is just, you can't treat them the same when they have different brains. Like, my older one, he's not a math brain. My middle one, he's a math brain. Like, you can't. My youngest is 3, and we're not into school stuff yet. So why would I sit him down and do math with him? Because he's not even learning that, right? Like, we're still learning normal behaviors of this is right and wrong. Please don't hit somebody. Don't throw toys. Like, let's learn to share, So you can't treat them all the same. One, they're not the same age. And 2, they have different brains. They learn different. They have different learning styles.
And what if God, being God, was like, that's how I treat my kids? Like, I give my 3-year-old different rules than I give my 7-year-old. I interact differently with my 7-year-old than I do my 9-year-old. I can give them the same information, but I have to give it to them completely different. What if God, the Father, being the dad, was actually like cooler than even us, right? I mean, like, if that is so obvious to your brain, if that is so, of course, if that is so naturally knowledgeable to treat your kids differently because they're different ages, they're different levels of maturity, they function different. Biologically, they function different. If you could so easily and naturally do that, wouldn't it just make natural sense that, oh, weird, God's the same way and even better and cooler and knows us more? And so the rules that need to apply to one person don't need to apply to somebody else. And what if? And so again, there's some common things like, okay, don't hit. Hi, husband. Thanks for joining us.
I'm just getting ready to go to work.
Have a great day.
Oh yeah. Love you.
I love you.
Enjoy the chaos.
Yes.
I love you too.
I have all the kids by myself. Yeah, chaos.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I love that.
He said, enjoy the chaos. Yeah. We call them our, what does he call them? Our rowdy rough boys.
I love it.
Open
I
up.
love it. But what if, I know what I was saying. So there's things though, however, that you tell all your kids, we don't hit other people.
Right.
Why? Because that's not nice. Does that mean hitting? Now, hear me well for just a second. Does that mean hitting is wrong? Well, if you're talking about other people, yes. If you're talking about a ball and a bat, no. Right? And so because we're trying to structurize this individual relationship, we come up with these blanket statements like, don't hit. Okay, no baseball. Right? Instead of actually recognizing that we're in relationship with everything, including words, including each other, including things like bats and balls and people, right? And if we look at what Jesus came to show us, which was, okay, and it's so interesting because so often, and I did this myself because this was the environment I was in, right? It went from, religion is the law, and it's not about the law, and it's about relationships. So no law, right? We're going to swing the pendulum completely to the other side. It's all about relationship, no law. Oh, okay. So anybody can hit anyone they want. Well,
Okay.
Well, no, there needs to be some kind of structure so that people understand how to interact with each other. However, if I can't hit anyone ever, well, then now boxing doesn't exist, and MMA fighting doesn't exist, and right, and jujitsu. Now, I don't love to watch those things, but they're sports. There's a place for those things. So recognizing that if God is relational and we are made in his image and we're relational and we interact with everything differently, well, then don't we have to step back and say, okay, what law applies to this right here? Because Jesus said, I didn't come to abolish the law. I didn't come to get rid of the law. I came to fulfill it. What does that mean? Well, the law is there on purpose, because as we grow, your 3-year-old needs more laws because they don't know how to regulate themselves yet. So the law helps them regulate themselves. And then when they get 7, when they get 9, and we start to understand how do they function, how are they biologically like bent, in order to know how do we come into those different bents in order to be in relationship with them individually, right? And so what if we could look at religion like that? And just like you said, like, well, gosh, that creates a whole lot more ease. And that allows for me to have God and not have to worry, be scared, be afraid, think I'm doing something wrong because I'm not doing it that traditional way. And being able to step back and go, okay, cool. What works for me? So tell me what's coming up with all of that for you?
A lot of good. Like I feel ease. I feel okay. I don't have to force it. I don't have to feel like because I don't go to a religion, I'm not holding on so tight to this part of it, then I'm not good enough. You know what I mean? Like a lot of my family feels like, oh, you don't go to church. So I have a stepmom now, and I have a little sister who is almost 11. She'll be 11 this month. And so my parents are older because, I'm older. So she goes, I don't know who to leave this younger sibling with if something were to happen to your dad and I, because none of you go to church. And so she's literally holding on to this whole, like, you don't go to church, so you can't have a good relationship. And it's like, but that's not true. That's not true. Like, and I try to explain, like, just because I don't go to a building doesn't mean that I don't have the relationship, because you don't have to have the religion side, right? Like you don't, and that's how I feel like you're saying too, is you don't have to have that building. You don't have to have that religion to have that relationship. Like you can have that relationship outside of it. And that makes me feel better, because it's not just me that thinks that. Like there's other people like me. Yay.
Yeah. Jesus never, well, in the Bible, it talks about how when he was 12, he was teaching in the synagogue. But when he actually started his ministry, never once does it show Jesus preaching in a church. Never once. Yet, what are we comparing? Well, because someone told me that this is what it means. Okay, cool. Well, it also says in the book, right, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am in their midst. Okay, cool. So the minute that, oh, wait, Sammy, we're doing church right now.
Yeah.
Right? This is church, because it says in, I think it's Psalms. No, it can't be Psalms, because it's talking, it says somewhere. I'm pretty good about what's in the book, just not where it's in the book. But it says daily, get together be in relationship with each other, sing over each other with hymns and psalms and words of upliftingness. Now, I totally just paraphrased that. Just so you all know, I paraphrased that, okay? But the point that I'm making is every time that you interact with your husband and you go, gosh, husband, I am just so grateful that you go to work. And I'm excited that I can be here in our chaos, taking care of it while you go to work. Well, guess what? In I think it's Ephesians, maybe it's Philippians. Anyway, think on what is good and right and pure and of good report, right? That is the same thing as being together and speaking over each other with hymns and psalms and words of encouragement, right? When you say that, you're focusing on two are coming together. You're doing the thing. That's church. The presence of God is there, right? And again, if we recognize that God says he's the all in all, through all, for all, the all, then it doesn't matter how we express that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And so what if you're okay? What if this is perfect? And what if this is how God designed you to be in relationship with him? What if?
Yeah.
And now we don't have to throw the baby out with bathwater. We don't have to throw Jesus out just because we threw out religion. We don't have to throw God out just because we threw out religion. We don't have to throw the Bible out just because we threw out religion.
Right.
What if we just say, that's not my tradition. It's not, that doesn't work for me. I don't really like that. But that's great that other people do, right? Those women who wanted to pray over you and anoint you with oil and cast out all your demons, if that's their tradition that they like and that they're comfortable with and that they jam with, and for them it increases their relationship with God, great, fantastic. Not everybody eats at Red Robin. Not everybody eats at Ruth's Chris. Not everybody eats at Chandler's. Not everybody eats at McDonald's, right? Yeah. That's why we have so many opportunities. And if we look back even at the Tower of Babel, right? And they were trying to build one tower up to God. And he said, no, this isn't beneficial for you guys. I need to separate you. I was taught that that was a punishment because they were trying to do it and build up to God and do it in their own strength. And that was a punishment. No, it was the grace of God going, one track, one tower isn't beneficial for you because you're all made differently. So I'm going to separate you so you can all find your personal genius and jam and how you relate to me all differently and create a bunch of different traditions so that people have choice. Right? And you're free to choose, Sammy, and there's nothing wrong with you. And you are absolutely still made in the image of God, still carrying the image of God. You're not tainted. You're not broken. You're not beyond repair. You don't need to actually even like do the whole I repent anymore. You don't have to get baptized again. Now, if you want to, because that would be fun for you, right? But it really is about that heart condition. When we begin to mature, it becomes about that heart condition, right? Where we go, okay, like, how does God speak to me? I'm just going to do that. Because again, the Bible says, you'll know my disciples by their love, not what church they go to, not who they marry, not who they vote for. You'll know my disciples by their love. And that's easily noticed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Cool questions like insights. Is there anything else you want to ask about that or question about that? Or do you just, yeah.
I feel really good. I feel like this is a really good place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I, again, so appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for sharing and allowing other people to glean from your experience, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we look back and the struggle that we went through, and well, why did that happen? And here you sit offering solution, offering something to other people who maybe are asking the same question. So I appreciate you being here. And join us again next week for What If Wednesday. And we are going to start kicking this up and doing a few more each day. And so, yeah, we'll have lots for you guys to choose from. So thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.